Hey everyone, thinking about real estate, specifically Indianapolis. Maybe you're even considering investing from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. You see the articles everywhere about how Indianapolis is the next big thing.
Oh, yeah.
All over, right?
Absolutely.
Kiplinger,
Wall Street Journal.
even Zillow's talking about it.
And don't forget, even billionaires are getting in on the action. We've seen headlines about Bezos buying up property there.
Right. It seems like everyone's jumping on the Indianapolis bandwagon. But here's the real question. Will all that hype actually pay your mortgage?
That's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. And that's what we're really digging into today. Forget the flashy headlines. We're going beyond the buzz to figure out if Indianapolis really lives up to the hype.
And for that, we need to take a step back. Look at the historical context. What's really interesting is that Indianapolis has seen this steady, consistent appreciation for decades. We're talking like 9 to 10% growth year after year for the past 30 to 50 years.
Wow. So this isn't just a recent trend. That's pretty reassuring, especially if you're looking for a stable, long-term investment.
Precisely. That kind of consistent growth is almost unheard of. It's like finding a rock in a sea of uncertainty. And it's not just about property values going up either. Rents in Indy have also been steadily climbing. Remember the rule of 72?
Refresh my memory. How does that work again?
It's a super handy rule of thumb to estimate how long it takes for an investment to double. Basically, you take 72 and divide it by your annual growth rate, and that gives you a rough estimate of your doubling time. So in Indianapolis, with that average 9% appreciation, we're looking at property values and rents doubling every, 8 years, roughly?
So even if there are dips in the market, history suggests that if you hold on, things will likely bounce back in Indianapolis.
Exactly. And speaking of really understanding the market, let's talk about two people who've mastered the Indianapolis real estate game. Oz Mayo and Joe Crump. They're, no joke, the most successful millionaire makers in the Midwest. They have over 50 years of combined experience.
Wow. So they've helped more people become millionaires through real estate than anyone else in the Midwest.
You got it. And they've got a track record that's arguably unmatched, even globally. Oz is actually known for his groundbreaking work in the special needs community, and Joe's an Emmy-nominated filmmaker. But their real passion lies in real estate. They specialize in helping people build passive income streams, and they truly believe Indianapolis is one of the best markets for it.
Passive income. That's the dream. But what makes Indianapolis so special for passive income in their view?
Well, it all comes down to their unique approach. They call it equity X production, passive income. Basically, they believe that Indianapolis offers this perfect environment for building equity in properties that generate solid rental income.
Yeah.
That creates that consistent cash flow everyone's after. They've got this laser focus on a specific type of property they call 1% houses.
1% houses.
Yeah, properties that generate a 1% return on their cash investment every single month.
1% a month. That sounds kind of small.
It does, doesn't it? But think about it. Most traditional investments, you're lucky to get, 5, maybe 7% annually? This is 12% annually, consistently. They've actually developed a system, they call it the Safe House algorithm, specifically to find these properties.
Okay, now you've got me really curious. Safe house algorithm? Huh. What's that all about? Is that something anyone can use?
It's not about some fancy software or anything like that. It's more their method for analyzing key factors. Things like property type, location, purchase price, rental rates. They've really zeroed in on what consistently points to strong cash flow in the Indianapolis market.
So it's not just about buying any house in Indy. It's about knowing which specific factors really matter.
Exactly. And what's interesting? They're not chasing those super glamorous properties. They're after those solid, well-maintained homes in stable neighborhoods, the kind that attract reliable renters. More like bread and butter real estate, not those luxury flips.
Right. Consistent rent is key when you're talking about passive income. But what makes these 1% houses so safe? What makes them stand out?
Well, it all comes down to how they're chosen. Cash flow above all else. So even if the market hits a little snag, those rental payments act as a buffer. Plus, remember how we talked about Indianapolis's steady historical growth? That makes it less prone to those wild swings you see in other markets.
So even if there's a dip, you're still bringing in that income. And chances are the property will regain its value over time anyway.
Exactly. It's a long game. It's about building wealth over time and riding out those bumps along the way. And that's where Oz and Joe's program really shines. They've helped more people achieve financial freedom through real estate than anyone else. I mean, they literally have a system that works. They're all about that get-rich-slow philosophy. helping people at all levels, from complete newbies to experienced investors, build that sustainable wealth.
So they provide the knowledge, the resources, the support, everything to make it happen. That's got to be huge, especially for someone who might feel a little lost trying to do this on their own.
Absolutely. But it's not just about the money for them. Oz and Joe are also really passionate about providing quality housing for families, especially those who might not qualify for those traditional mortgages. Joe often talks about the crying quotient, the number of people who are just overwhelmed with gratitude at their closings.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's about building wealth, but also making a real difference in the community.
Exactly. But of course, no investment is without risk, right? So as we move forward, I'm curious, what resonates most with you about this approach? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, that safe house algorithm really has me intrigued. But before I go jumping in headfirst, let's talk about those risks. What are some things someone should really be aware of before diving into the Indianapolis market?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes people make is not doing their due diligence. That means really researching any property before you invest. Inspect it carefully, review all the financial records, understand what's going on in the neighborhood. You even want to check for any legal issues that might pop up down the road.
So it's like being a detective. Get all the facts before you make your move.
Exactly. Rushing into a deal without doing your homework, that can lead to some costly mistakes. Another common pitfall is overpaying for a property. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement, but you got to stick to your budget, make sure the numbers actually make sense.
Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. That's classic investing 101.
Absolutely. Another thing to consider, especially if you're not local to Indianapolis, is property management. You'll need a reliable property manager to handle all the day-to-day stuff. Finding tenants, collecting rent, dealing with any maintenance issues.
That's a huge time saver,
Right.
especially for those out-of-state investors.
Absolutely. But finding a trustworthy property manager, someone who has your best interests at heart, that's key. Now, I know one of the big things on everyone's mind these days is the possibility of a housing market crash.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? Every time you see those headlines about a potential crash, you can't help but feel a little nervous.
Of course. But remember what we were talking about earlier with Indianapolis's historical performance, that consistent, steady growth over decades that makes it more resilient to those dramatic swings you might see in other markets.
So while no market is completely immune, it sounds like Indianapolis might be on more solid ground.
That's right. And even if there is a downturn, remember Joe's advice. All you have to do is wait. Patience is key in real estate, especially in a market like Indianapolis where those long-term trends are in your favor.
Plus, those 1% houses with that steady rental income can help you weather those dips.
Exactly. And remember, Oz and Joe have an incredible track record in this market. They've been through multiple cycles. They really understand how to adapt and thrive even when things get a little bumpy.
So for someone considering Indianapolis, it sounds like finding a team like theirs could be a game changer. They have that local expertise, the experience to navigate those potential risks.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on, I want to shift gears a bit. You're thinking about investing in Indianapolis, maybe from out of state. It's natural to feel a little intimidated by all this.
To be honest, I am a bit. It's one thing to read articles about a market, but actually putting your money down, that's a whole other story.
I get it. That's completely understandable. But that's where having a solid team, like the one Oz and Joe have built, is so valuable. They take the guesswork out of it. They guide you every step of the way.
It's like having a trusted guide when you're exploring uncharted territory. So let's say someone IS, ready to take the plunge and explore Indianapolis real estate. What are some key factors they should be thinking about?
First things first, define your goals. What are you hoping to achieve? Are you after those short-term flips, or are you looking for long-term wealth building? Do you want to be hands-on, or do you prefer a more passive approach?
It's like planning any journey. Know your destination before you start packing.
Exactly. Once you've got your goals figured out, start digging into specific Indianapolis neighborhoods. See which ones align with your strategy. If you're after those 1% houses, look for areas with affordable property, strong rental demand.
That's where Oz and Joe's safe house algorithm could be a huge help, identifying those sweet spots.
Absolutely. Then be realistic about your budget. How much capital can you comfortably invest? Are you comfortable taking on debt? And if so, how much?
It's about being honest with yourself, not overextending financially.
Right. And finally, think about the lifestyle you want. Do you picture a hands-off investment, or do you want to be more involved in the property management side of things? There's no right or wrong answer. It's about choosing what fits your personality, your time commitment.
So Indianapolis could be a great option for those seeking passive income through real estate. But it's crucial to do your research, define your goals, and find the right team to guide you.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to investing. There are a ton of resources out there. You've got online real estate platforms like Zillow, local meetups and conferences, even books and podcasts can help you learn the ropes.
Speaking of resources, you mentioned that Oz and Joe have some great information available too, right?
Right. They do. They actually have a book on Indianapolis real estate investing where they share their insights and strategies. And they even offer free consultations for those who are interested in learning more about their Get Rich Slow program.
So if this approach is really speaking to you, reaching out to them could be a great next step.
Definitely. They've got a wealth of knowledge and a genuine passion for helping others succeed in this market.
All right. So we've covered a lot today. We talked about Indianapolis's potential for real estate investing, the power of those 1% houses, the importance of doing your due diligence, and of course, the potential risks to keep in mind. And we've highlighted the value of finding a supportive team, especially one with the experience and track record of Oz and Joe.
And let's not forget the human element. You know, how real estate investing can positively impact your financial life and the lives of the people you provide homes for.
Absolutely. It's been a really insightful deep dive.
Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about. If you could design your ideal passive income stream, what would that look like? How much would it generate? What would it give you the freedom to do?
That's a great question to ponder. Because ultimately, it's not just about the money, it's about the life you want to create.
Exactly. And how could Indianapolis real estate play a role in achieving that vision? This deep dive, this is just the beginning. Take some time to really reflect on what resonated with you. See if Indianapolis aligns with your goals, your aspirations.
And if it does, remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are resources, experts, communities out there ready to support you.
This is your journey. Take that first step and see where it leads you.
We've spent this deep dive exploring the Indianapolis market, uncovering those fascinating 1% houses, and really highlighting the power of having a team like Oz and Joe's to support you. But now, let's bring it all back to you.
That's right. This entire conversation has been about empowering you to make the best decisions for yourself. It's about understanding the Indianapolis market, sure, but it's even more about aligning that knowledge with your unique goals and aspirations.
Because at the end of the day, real estate investing, it's just a tool. It's a means to an end. And that end, that should be a life that feels truly fulfilling, a life that aligns with what matters most to you.
Imagine waking up each morning without that weight of financial stress on your shoulders. What would that freedom allow you to do? Would you spend more time with loved ones? Maybe finally pursue those passions you've had to put on hold? Maybe even travel the world?
That's what's so amazing about passive income. It's not just about the money itself. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, so you can focus on what truly matters.
And that's exactly what Oz and Joe have dedicated their lives to, empowering others to create that kind of freedom and abundance. They truly believe that everyone deserves to live a life they love, and they've shown time and time again that real estate can be a powerful vehicle to get there.
I get it. Taking that first step, it can feel daunting, especially when we're talking about something as big as real estate investing. But remember, you don't have to go it alone.
You've got that right. Whether you decide to explore Oz and Joe's program or you forge your own path, there are so many resources out there. Mentors, communities, all ready to support you. Take advantage of those resources, connect with like-minded people, and never, ever be afraid to ask for help.
This deep dive was really just a glimpse into the world of Indianapolis real estate investing. We've sparked some ideas, we've gained some insights, and hopefully we've ignited a sense of possibility for you.
Now it's time to take that spark and turn it into action. What resonated with you most today? What steps can you take to explore these ideas further?
This is your journey. Remember that. Own it. Embrace the learning process and never stop exploring.
And as Oz and Joe would say, it's never too late to start building a legacy that reflects the life you truly desire. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Indianapolis real estate market. We'll see you next time.
See you then.